Hey there folks, welcome back to another Civilization 6 video. In the past, I have done a couple of videos discussing governor title assignments, particularly early game assignments. And following some of these videos, I've had one of my regular viewers ask me a couple times if I ever use Pingala as my first governor assignment. And what he actually said was, do I ever use good old Pingala? But Southern vernacular aside, the answer is yes, I do, but in very specific situations. Now, if you have ever looked for information like on Reddit or something about early governor title assignments, you want to keep in mind that discussion prior to December 2020 that used secret societies mode would have had a different basis for assigning those power levels and relative advantages because you got more governor titles prior to that update because you used to get them with every single secret society discovery. The comparison now is 3 fewer governor titles. So I think Pingala had a power spike at the time that you got those 3 additional governor titles because of the ability to assign him early, still get his best boosts in terms of promotions, and then also still assign Magnus. Now that you have to sort of make a choice again, I think that Magnus is probably the better choice. We're going to go over the scenario in this video where I do like to use Pingala first. Before we get into that, we're going to cut over to what I consider to be the highlight of this playthrough, and it is one of the greatest things that you can do because there's really very little in the way of negative consequences and very little effort. There could be a World Congress vote, I guess, for taking the city, but basically it's when the AI has been attacking a city state for a number of turns and has brought it down to almost being dead, and you can run in and snipe and take over that city state. I mean, if you have envoys there, you lose those, but you pick up a city, so probably a good trade-off. And plus, for some reason, that doesn't like immensely anger the AI. Like I would be just infuriated by that. But in this case, like Vietnam's my ally, and I don't think anything is really going to happen from it unless there's a World Congress vote. So let's loop back to the beginning of the game so that we can discuss the factors that you'll want in play if you're going to select Pingala as your first governor choice. Now, first, there's your civ selection, and it's preferred to have a civ that benefits in some way from accelerating out your culture and or science. So I've selected Korea, which actually gets a bonus per governor promotion in the city to both culture and science. So that's a pretty obvious choice. The second thing that you're going to want is you're going to want a starting location that has a lot of food, like a very food heavy starting location. So I'm playing on a wetlands map here, which tends to have quite a bit of food. So the reason that you're going to want that is one, you're not going to be going Magnus to have the either the additional growth to your population or the not lose a settler effect. I forget. I think it's called provision. I don't remember what the other one is called. But at any rate, having a ton of food helps. And obviously, you want to grow your population quickly because Pingala's tier 2 promotions are based upon the population number, one culture or one science per population in the city he's in. So if you don't have a high population, it sort of negates the whole point of taking an early Pingala. Real quickly, before I forget, if you're a regular viewer and you are interested in other types of games, I do have another channel that I started separately for Legends of Ruined Terror, which is sort of a Hearthstone kind of game. The link to their channel is below. I'm keeping the content separate so as to not spam my Civ viewers with content that they aren't really interested in. So, but if you're interested in that type of game, please, if you want to help me out, check out that channel and subscribe as well. But at any rate, getting back to the discussion here, now you'll notice that I'm still going builder early, and that might be sort of counterintuitive since I didn't take Magnus. But the reason that you want to do that is you don't want to be afraid to take maybe a few early inefficient chops with Pingala as your governor. I think people tend to get trapped in the mentality, well, if I can't chop with Magnus, it's really inefficient, which it is because you're paying effectively 50 hammers or 52 hammers or something like that for your first builder, and it scales up from there. And if you're only chopping like 3 times, 3 times somewhere between 25 and 40, you're not getting that much back. But the reason for this is because if you're planning to get some of the early game wonders that might be helpful to your strategy, is you can still get them without having Magnus, and I think it is still worth it to structure your strategy around that, even if that means taking some inefficiencies early on. So this map is obviously super favorable for Edamanaki or whatever it's called. So I am trying to push that out even without the Magnus enhanced chops. So I planned around that by going into writing early and then building an early builder and getting mining. And I think the reason this is important for Pingala first selection governor is because of that, like the flat percentage boost you're getting from Pingala to culture and science in a city is going to be that much better if you can get into play some type of wonder or suzerainty bonus or anything that's really going to boost the overall base number to really get the most out of that plus 15%, so that you're not just relying on the flat population and that you're really fully taking advantage of Pingala and the whole reason you're selecting him as your first choice. So that is one of the things that you're going to want to do. You're going to be still looking to try and plan out early wonders that fit into your build. Some people maybe don't like wonders if they play a more military strategy, but I think I've gone over some of the aspects to that where, like you're sort of at the mercy of where the AI happens to build those wonders if you're looking to try and just take cities that have them and you don't necessarily know who's going to build what. Now, you'll notice that I've committed sort of that early wonder strategy at the expense of a settler, even with that very nearby Petiti, which even has a freshwater source next to it. So it's an excellent settlement spot there, but there isn't any AI threats nearby there to settle it. So I think even with the huge yields on that, because the AI tends to be pretty quick in building the wonder that I want in this case, that I'm still prioritizing getting that wonder out. It's going to be huge to my tiles there, and the plan is hopefully to get the Lady of the Reeds and Marshal's Pantheon to further boost the yields on those marsh tiles. Now, you can't really control whether or not you're going to get a boost in foreign trade, but if possible, you want to try and get a boost into craftsmanship by improving 3 tiles, even if that means that you have to improve a tile that doesn't have a bonus resource on it, like building a farm or a mine over just the terrain with no bonus feature. And that is because the first additional governor titles that you're going to run into are going to be unlocked via state workforce or early empire. So you're going to need to get to Pingala's second promotion tier as quickly as possible. So for that reason, like besides building a first builder, you're probably actually, if you're using that one to chop, you're probably going to need a second builder as well. But if you have a good gold output, then you should be able to buy that second builder right around the time that you need him. So that's another thing that you're going to want to try and keep in mind, that you might need a little bit more gold than normal. I was fortunate because I do have that wine that's giving like 1 additional gold nearby, and I also had the first meet on a Samarkand city state, which is generating extra gold because they are a commercial type city state. Another notable thing with this strategy is you may have to just end up foregoing trying to get a religion if you're playing on deity. It's just like you're on too, I guess, tight of a production schedule to really get out the advantages that go along with Pingala, and getting a holy site down with that really does not fit in with that. So you'll have to expect to just be on the defensive probably for religion. You'll notice that at the same time I'm saying this, I'm researching astrology, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but you shouldn't write off getting a religion. I just wouldn't prioritize heavily or count on getting that as part of your win condition. Now, quick spoiler alert if you are following along with me on the progress of my wonder there. I do end up actually getting the Enamanaki down in time before somebody beats me to it. So that is good. Although I do later lose out on the Great Library and lose a whole crap ton of production, which is sucky. I probably would have got it had I had Magnus. So, oh well. But it did end up converting that production into getting an early Killwa, which was nice because I think the only reason I was able probably to get it is because I got into that tech relatively early, and there probably wasn't a lot of other AI players trying to build it. So Killwa, I think, is probably a better effect than the Great Library anyway. But it was still a big, huge waste of production. So that sort of sucked. And the other thing is that Congo seemed to have really capitalized on the Great Library of this game to accelerate out their science. And for some reason, they're just getting tons and tons of great people, and they're getting all of the good ones. So right before recording this video, I did try and poke around and figure out, well, why Congo was generating so much science because they were just way ahead at the point in the game, which I just sort of stopped playing. Like I'm sort of in the middle of the pack, but I was pretty on the high end of the science, obviously given the Eminaki of getting a big advantage off of that. So just what did it, at first I thought, okay, they must have Hermetic Order. They didn't. They had Void Singers, which was interesting, but they just were able to leverage getting a lot of the good great people. They were getting they were getting the bonus science to their libraries and universities, and they were also in a golden age where they were generating science off their commercial districts as well. So I mean, like I was in second place in this game in science, generating like 120 per turn, and at this point Congo was generating 190 science per turn, which is pretty incredible. Anyway, thanks for liking. Thanks to all the viewers. Like and subscribe if you're new. And have a great Memorial Day weekend.